get it immediately.
This video looks at the difference between camcorders and DSLRs and their advantages and disadvantages of each. So let's start with the camcorder. They range from £100 to £600. They're quick and simple to set up, very easy to use. Their automatic functions are usually quite good, so you can just point and shoot. They're good for letting the right amount of light in, good for focusing and good for colour balance. A lot of camcorders have image stabilisation, both optical and digital, so they stabilise the image reasonably well. A big advantage is that they can record for long periods of time. Okay, so what about DSLRs? It's important to understand that DSLRs are really meant for photography, but recently people have found that they are excellent for video as well. The biggest advantage is the image sensor size. It lets a lot more light in, gives sharper images, and is good at dealing with dynamic range, or the differences between light in the image. Another big advantage is the depth of field, so that area of focus, and you can really pull the audience's eyes to one area of your scene. Having a DSLR gives you manual control, which is much better for focusing and dealing with different light conditions. But it does make it that bit harder, and you have to really know what you're doing. You could see that as an advantage or a disadvantage. It makes you a better cinematographer, but you do have to work harder. Being able to manually adjust the focus, for example, means you can pull focus from one area of the scene to another, but it's quite a tricky thing to master. Or, if you want to light a scene in a certain way for dramatic effect, you can change the exposure in the camera. But you need to learn about light, depth of field and exposure control. Another big advantage is that you can change the lenses, so it gives you much more adaptability. Some lenses are very good for low light conditions, others are zoom lenses, so you can be far away from your subjects and still film. But these lenses can be really expensive, and you're looking to spend the same amount of money on your lenses as you do on the body of the camera. The major disadvantages to a lot of DSLRs is that you can only film for about 12 minutes depending on the model of camera. This is fine for most amateur filmmakers, but not very good if you're filming long events. What many people do is have a DSLR to get those nice shots and a camcorder to film the whole thing from a wide angle. Another disadvantage is for most DSLRs is that you can't change the controls whilst you're filming. And lastly, it's worth mentioning that both camcorders and DSLRs are pretty bad at sound recording. Sound is a major part of any video production, and you'll want to get an external microphone and sound recorder. So those are the major differences. There are other issues, but you'll learn them as you go along. But if you're a serious amateur filmmaker and you want to get into it, then get a DSLR, because you can experiment and it's much closer to that film level of production. Hope this helps.